record. Sorry, one more time. Welcome to Remote Prep. I'm Nissa. I'm going to be your lead instructor. Zan Rosenthal is the TA for this class.
Hello there.
I'm in Bishop, California. I just went through Hack Reactor. I graduated in January. My background is actually as an EMT, as ski controller, river guide, gone to web development. About, I guess, a year ago, started working on kind of developing basic pre-formatted websites with a friend of mine, and then sort of peeked underneath the hood and got more and more interested in coding and seeing what was going on. So dove in, found Hack Reactor, went through the course, had a great time, really fell in love with the community. Both Dan and I now are just kind of sticking around as hacker in residences. I'm about 6 weeks in. Dan just started. We both have like a 13-week term. So as our class wraps up, I'll be finishing up with my hacker in residence term, and Dan will be continuing on with his. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Zan for a quick intro.
Hello, everyone. As Nisa said, I'm a recent graduate of Hack Reactor, and I come from a background in theater, and I went along a similar trajectory. I started coding static sites maybe about a year and a half ago, and the more that I got into it, the more interested I became in how they worked and higher level engineering, and so I ended up applying to Hack Reactor, and here we are. And I also, I went through the remote prep class before getting into Hack Reactor, so maybe 5 months ago, I was sitting where you were sitting.
Awesome. So today's class, I'm just going to go ahead and let you know, it's going to be different than most of the other classes that we have during this 4-week session, in that we're going to have a lot of kind of housekeeping, admin things to go over. And Dan and I are going to end up talking for a lot of this class period. But just to let you know, in other classes, typically, we're going to get you into pair programming and doing actual coding as quickly as possible. Every day we'll start with a lecture. In the lectures, we like to just kind of do sort of like, we call it breadcrumbing, where we just kind of give you a little bit of information about the challenges and the prompts that you're going to be working through during the main part of class time that you're pairing. But the lectures won't be as long as today's lecture is. And after our pairing session, we'll typically group back up maybe 15 or sometimes longer periods of time at the end of class to kind of go over any questions that have arisen as you work through the prompts, or any other kind of lingering issues, things you need to get answered. So before we dive into more stuff, I want to start with kind of an intro to Zoom. So if you look at your Zoom window and you kind of mouse over, you'll see you have some options. I've kind of talked about the mute button on the bottom left-hand corner. With 20 to 30 people in a Zoom, just like small background noises get kind of picked up and then get to be kind of distracting. So if you're not talking, we'd appreciate it if you would mute your mic. That said, if we're giving a lecture and you're having a question, you have a couple options. It's totally fine. Dan and I both are super into you just unmuting and asking your question. Just kind of you would in a live lecture, just kind of, getting the instructor's attention and speaking up when there's something you don't understand. The other option for asking questions, if you look over on that bottom bar, is that chat. I like to just kind of keep the chat open, kind of move it over to the side so that I can see it while I still can see what's going on in the lecture. But this is a great place to ask questions as well. If I'm giving a lecture, Dan will kind of watch the chat. So if something comes up that you want to get a quick answer to, you can type your question into the chat. And Dan, I'll keep an eye on it as well if I'm lecturing, but Dan can jump in and answer it while I talk, and vice versa. If Dan's lecturing, I'll try to keep an eye on the chat. Hey, Rose on the chat, awesome. The other thing that we do with the chat at Hack Reactor is this thing we call thumbs. So as we're lecturing, we just kind of want to get the pulse of the class and see how, if we're explaining things well, if people are following along. And we do this a couple ways. The kind of quick and dirty way is we say, can I get thumbs on that? So, thumbs would typically be like, yeah, thumbs up, I'm with you. Thumbs down would be like, I need you to explain that again. Thumbs medium, up, down would be kind of like, yeah, there's still a couple sticking points. So the way that we do that in Zoom is we use a B, a lowercase b, for thumbs up. Yeah, Zan's got it in there. And a lowercase p for thumbs down. Awesome. So yeah, let me get some thumbs in the chat if you guys are with me so far. I see it. Thumbs down from Michael and Nick. Michael, Nick, what are your questions? Oh, there we gotta be. Just kidding. Awesome. So chat's a great place. Like any kind of discussions can take place in there. Just like I said, keep it open. And anything that comes up, throw it in there. We'll try to get to it. The other thing we sometimes ask is something more specific. We'll say, 0 to 5, like, what's your understanding of this? 0 being like, I need you to repeat it. 5 being like, I could explain this to someone else. I'm really super clear on what's going on. I really want to reinforce that if you're having a question during a lecture, like, please stop us and ask it, because more than likely you're not the only one having that question, and you asking it helps us kind of guide our lecture. We want to hit on the points and explain it in ways that everybody understands. So if we're not doing that, like, that's how we need your feedback to guide us and help us learn how we can best explain something. Okay, back to the bottom of the Zoom chat. So next to mute is a video. We really appreciate it if you keep your videos on. I know it's 9 a.m. for me. I think it's like noon for Zan. I'm sure it's all different times for people are all over the globe. So it may be the middle of the night or early in the morning and you'd rather, not be seen, but it really helps us interact a lot better, especially when you're pair programming. So if you need to step away from your computer or you're gonna need to turn it off for a second or two, that's totally fine. But as much as you can, we really appreciate it if you keep your videos on. The last thing there you'll see in the Zoom window is share screen. We're going to talk about presentations, student presentations, which will be starting up. So that's just kind of for future reference. You'll want to keep in mind the share screen button. Okay, that said, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk a little bit about Slack. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Zan, can you tell me is our screen sharing good?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to open Slack. Pull it up here. So if you guys haven't been on a Slack team before, a couple things just as a heads up. Slack can get super talkative. Hopefully it will. It's a great place to interact. Like I said, people are in all kinds of different time zones and are awake at all different times of the day. So it can be a great spot if you're stuck at like 11 at night to ask for some help. So here's us, rp18 channel. The general channel might have been the place that you started at, but 18 is where you want to go. You should be aware that you can change the notification preferences. I think the default is that you're going to get an email or a notification on your desktop every time somebody even types into channels that you belong to, which gets to be a little bit much. So you might want to poke around there, change your notifications. Other things about it are, let's see here. You can also put something in the general chat, but you can also direct message somebody. So if you need to send like a direct message to Augie, anybody, type in their name, you'll have an opportunity to start a private conversation with them. Other things you can do, we'll start having some kind of code conversations. Here you can create a snippet, which will actually keep your code formatted, so it won't be just like you've written it into a Word doc and really difficult to read. Okay, we're going to cover a few more Slack things in the future, but what I want to cover here is the whiteboard. So I've pasted this onto the top of our Slack channel. This is a link to our class whiteboard. So this is kind of the main brain of the class. So the first current pairs, this is going to be filled out. Zan and I are going to start for the first week or two picking your pairs. What we ask you to do is you'll come to this current pairs, you'll find out who you're paired with for the day. You guys will create a Hangout link, a Google Hangout link, you'll paste it in here. Eventually we're going to start using Fluebits. Right now it's going to be Cloud9, but we ask that you paste your link in there as well, because as you're working through the prompts, Zan and I are going to kind of cycle through your groups so that we can check in on you and see how things are going. This part, we're going to see how well this works. We're trying to mix it up so we can get everybody paired, more or less paired with different people. So if you can help us by, once you've paired with someone, so Niall, if you pair with Chris, the first day, you just kind of put an X here. Kind of help us keep tabs as far as like who have you worked with, so that we can get you some new partners. Certainly probably won't be able to have everybody work with everyone else necessarily, but we're going to see if this works to help us keep tabs, keep it moving around. Okay, the schedule. You guys can take a peek at this. This is in flux. This is something that we're going to kind of iterate on as we move through the class. So don't get too attached to what you see here. I'm gonna skip to this one. This tab class list is where we want you to try to get this filled out today. If not today, maybe tomorrow. So find your name and your email, and some of these things won't be happening yet. Are you set up to use Fluebits? Like I said, we're gonna have a lecture on that coming up. So right now we don't expect that to be the case. But what we definitely want you to fill out here, it's kind of a one-sentence goal for the end of the course. Having it here on the whiteboard is gonna help us see what everybody is interested in, whether it's studying to get into an immersive, learning how to host a web app on the internet, learning a specific skill or a specific topic. We really want you to fill this out with some kind of one sentence, one line of your goal. Okay, lecture videos are recorded and they're going to be posted here on this tab. So you can see these are all the pre-course ones you guys may or may not have seen yet. And day by day, these recorded videos are going to get pasted here. Office hours, you have 15-minute slots. Really encourage you guys to sign up for office hours. Whether or not you're stuck on something in the coursework or you just have questions, come and chat with us. We'd love to just hear what's going on, what you're interested in, anything that's you've been struggling with in class or just curious about in general. We're super stoked to have you guys come meet us. If you sign up here, what will probably happen is we'll post a link to a Zoom in the main chat room during office hours. And then if you have something scheduled, just click on that link during your scheduled time and we'll be there. This last thing, useful links. This is kind of a catch-all of a bunch of links students have found useful, we've found useful in the past. You don't need to go through all of these. We'll specifically point some out to you at certain points in the class that we think you should pursue. But if you have some extra time in your hands and you're kind of curious about looking at some other interesting resources, you can click on some of those. The course syllabus is at the top here, as well as this daily survey. So this course syllabus is going to link us to what you guys have already seen. And this daily survey, don't let me forget to remind you guys to fill this out at the end of class every day. I'll try to send a reminder in Zoom, or sorry, in Slack as well. But really basic questions. It's the same every time, but just also helps us keep a pulse on how people are doing, what they're interested in, what is moving too fast, what's moving too slow. So, oh, get out of the way thing. Okay, the last thing on the whiteboard that I skipped over is presentations. So today is locked out. We're not going to have a student presentation today. But starting tomorrow and for every day for this class, we want you guys to sign up for 5-minute presentations. It's how we're going to start the class in the beginning of the day. And they don't have to be on a technical topic. You don't have to give us a presentation on JavaScript or on anything related to computers. We've had awesome presentations on tarot cards, on shoulder surgery, on beer brewing, any kind of topic that you're interested in. Sign up, tell us what your topic is going to be, and it just has to be like 3 to 5 minutes. Just giving you a chance to kind of hone your presentation skills, your kind of public speaking skills. If it is something technical that you want to talk about, maybe something that you struggled with in a prompt and kind of found a solution for, then definitely talk about that topic. I'm just going to warn you that if your name isn't on the board and you haven't signed up, Dan and I will not only sign you up, but we'll pick a topic for you. So just do yourselves a favor, and you can pick your own topic, add your names here. We're going to need a brave soul to sign up for tomorrow. So don't hesitate to jump in on this. Okay, we'll jump back to Slack really quickly. So the last thing to know about Slack, as you can see, if you want to get everyone's attention here, say you have a pressing, you can do it at here, and everyone is going to get a ding for that. They're going to, on their computers, they're going to get a notification. We do that when we send out Zoom links or when we have other kind of information that we just need everybody to get as fast as possible. But otherwise, because everyone gets a ping for it, just be aware. Okay, Paco's still setting up the Zoom. Cool. The last and possibly most important thing about Slack is it has this awesome built-in thing called Giphy. All you have to type is / the word Giphy and another word, and it will, awesome. It will search the Giphy reservoir and find the perfect Giphy for you. So props to anyone who can make like even a sentence or an entire train of thought in Giphies. And one thing you should know about Giphy is sometimes they get a little interesting. There's always a delete option if you get a Giphy that just doesn't match what exactly you were shooting for. But give it a shot. Giphies are super fun. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking for a minute, and I want to have just like a quick intro from everybody in the class. So I'm gonna pick somebody. That person is going to pick the next person until we've gone through everyone in the class. In the interest of time, we're just going to answer 3 quick questions. You're going to just say your name. You're going to say where you are in this world. And then you have a choice. You can either say a sport you played, a club you were part of, or a team you were on in high school, or you can say who your favorite band was when you were in high school. Okay, I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to pick the first person on my video screen who is, I'm going to need help pronouncing it, but is it Vagelis?
Yes, my name is Vagelis Soteropoulos. I'm in Chicago, Illinois, and my favorite band in high school was Yes. Okay, so do I pick someone else now?
Yep, Vagelis, you have to pick someone else.
Okay, Rose Myers.
Hi, my name is Rose. I'm in San Francisco, Alameda, actually, Bay Area. I was on the swim team in high school. So how about George Weiler?
Hey, I'm George. I live in Mountain View in the Bay Area. And I was a cross-country runner in high school. Oh, I will pick Michael Romanov.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
I can, so I think everyone else can too.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
So, hi, my name is Michael. I am coming to you from New York, New York. And in high school, I played chess and was on the swim team. I nominate Nick Randall.
Hello, I'm Nick Randall. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was a band nerd in high school. And I will choose
Wait, Nick, you got to tell us what instrument you played.
trumpet,
Nice.
also in a ska band. I will choose Vivian Zhang.
Hi, I'm Vivian. I'm from New York City, and my favorite band when I was in high school was Five. Okay, and then I would choose Elizabeth. I don't know if she heard me. Elizabeth, or I'll choose somebody else.
I'll see if I can ping Elizabeth on Slack, but maybe we'll have to find someone else.
Then I'll choose Gabrielle Crowan.
Gabriel, we can't hear you, or can everyone else, but I can't.
I can't see her either.
All right.
Okay, I'll choose somebody else then. Scott.
Wow, you had a.
I love to say. Okay, Raymond 2.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, Raymond, we can hear you.
All right, hi guys. So my name is Raymond Toe, and I'm from Oakland, California. And I think my favorite band in high school was Linkin Park.
Nice. Awesome.
Okay, I guess I'll pick Michael Dalf.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michael. I'm in Valencia, California, which is near 30 minutes from LA, and I
Hold on. You guys could check the mute, or I'll see if I can mute up whoever that is here. Hold on. Okay, I think we're ready to go, but you might have to re-unmute yourself if you're unmuted.
Okay, my name's Michael. I'm in Valencia, which is in SoCal, and I once joined an adult basketball league, even though I had no idea how to play basketball. Oh, and I'll go ahead and pick Nelson.
Hi, I'm Nelson. I'm from Saratoga, California. It's a really small city. I'm not sure if everyone has heard of it. I played badminton in high school. I'll pick Selchko. Wait, or was he already picked?
No, I wasn't picked. Actually, I go by Jake. It's a lot easier. So everybody can call me Jake from now on.
Sorry for mispronounced.
I played basketball in high school, and now I'm playing. Actually, I'm doing CrossFit right now. So, and I'm gonna pick. Let's see, Lakida Kosi.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Sorry, I forgot I was muted.
Sorry. I'm Laquita Cozy. I'm from Vicksburg, Mississippi, and I played trombone in high school. I will choose Ben.
Hi guys, I'm Ben. I'm from Berlin in Germany, so probably the first from outside of the US. And I used to play golf in high school. And who's left? How about Nico?
Hi everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
All right. I'm from Midland, Michigan. And I played basketball in high school. Oh, my name's Nico Smith, by the way. I don't think I said my name. But yeah, I played basketball in high school. And it's freezing cold here, just to let everybody know. That's from warm California.
We've had some cold weather.
Oh, okay. Has Scott gone? Scott Demio?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, everyone. I'm Scott from snowy New England. It's cold here, too. Looks like 55 degrees outside. I guess my favorite band in high school was Led Zeppelin. Houses of the Holy.
Classic.
How about Chris Battenfield?
Hello, everyone. I'm Chris. Here in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. I played roller hockey because there wasn't too many opportunities to play ice. So, I'll go ahead and nominate Maria. She hasn't gone yet.
I don't think so.
Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is, I go by Camila. Maria is my first name, and I don't like it. And I'm in Miami right now, but I'm Colombian. And my favorite band in high school was Maná, and it's actually a Mexican band.
Nice.
And I nominate Pascal.
Pascal, we can't hear you if you're talking. Oh, still muted.
How about Rose?
I already went.
Rose
Oh,
went.
sorry. Vivian?
Vivian went too.
I already went.
Let's see, who is left? If you haven't gone yet, put your name in the chat.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Who's talking? Go share from the...
My name's Gabe. I was called before, but my mic wasn't working.
Oh, great. Gabriel Corwin. Go for it.
My video is not working because it broke, but I special ordered a webcam, so it'll be here tomorrow. So sorry you guys can't see me today. But yeah, my name's Gabe. In high school, I played tennis and studied Japanese.
Cool. We also missed Elizabeth earlier with an audio issue. Is your audio working now, Elizabeth?
Yes, I'm good to go.
Awesome.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Hi, guys. I'm Liz. I'm from Vacaville, California, which is a town just outside of the Bay Area. And in high school, I loved Real Big Fish and snowboarded a whole lot.
Awesome. Looks like we have a few more names in the chat, Elizabeth, people who haven't gone.
Okay, let's go to Sarah then.
Hi, my name is Sarah. Sorry if this looks like an interrogation. I I played the French horn in high school, and everybody slowly, I would pick a name in advance, like pick this person, and slowly everyone has picked all the names. Let's go with Neil.
Hi, hi, I'm Niall. I'm in Northern Ireland, and let me see. What did I do in high school? Played table tennis. Let me see. Jan?
Awesome.
Is it
One.
how do is it Jan?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah. We can hear you.
Hi, my name is Yuan. So the proper pronunciation is Yuan. I'm from Boston. It's also cold outside. And my favorite band in high school was a Taiwan band called 小虎队. I originally from China. So, yeah.
Cool, thanks.
How about Jumar?
Hi, everyone. Last but not least, I believe, my name is Julma. I'm also a fellow New Englander in Providence, Rhode Island. And my favorite band in high school was also Linkin Park.
I think maybe we haven't also heard from Kevin.
Yeah, hi. My internet went out for a second, so I missed like the first half of the introductions.
Oh.
But I tethered my phone, so hopefully this stays now.
Okay.
So my name's Kevin, and I played tennis in high school. So I heard a few more of the tennis people toward the end.
Yeah, I think we got some tennis and basketball teams that we can form up here.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Is there anyone who hasn't gone? You put your name in the chat if you haven't been called on. Okay, awesome.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, Pascal.
Hi.
Hi, go ahead.
So my name is Pascal. I'm from Rwanda, East Africa. So we are 7 p.m. here. I'm excited to join, the remote prep of AgriActor.
Awesome. Pascal, what did you play a sport, have an activity, or a favorite band when you were in high school?
Actually, I'm a graduate from college. So I'm now a graduate from college, and my favorite, I like programming, especially in ASP.NET.
It broke up a little bit for me, but we'll have a chance to know each other quite a bit more in the future, especially as we're pairing. So thank you guys so much for sharing. We're going to move into a couple slide decks to kind of talk about introduction to remote prep. And then we're going to wrap up with some of this housekeeping stuff and get into a JavaScript lecture and some pair programming. So it is coming your way. Hold on one second here while I pull up these slides. Chat out of the way. Okay. Oops, I have to close this chat. Okay. If I can make this work. Okay, can someone tell me, can you see the whole slide deck or is it blocked by this sidebar?
Blocked.
Okay. And you can see it now?
Yep.
Okay. So this is going to be a quick run through Welcome to Remote Prep. What is the goal of this class? First of all, our goal is to get you closer to autonomy. So when you're confronted with a problem, a software engineering problem, you're able to know the routes to take to come to a solution on your own. Dan and I are here totally to help you. When you get stuck, we don't want you to grind away at something for 15 minutes with no idea how to move forward. We want you to reach out to us. We want you to reach out to your peers, but we're slowly going to be teaching you how more and more to find those answers on your own. When we come into your Hangouts and you tell us you're stuck, we'll start asking you, what have you done? What have you tried? What's your thought process been? And how can we possibly move forward to just build those skills so that it becomes more and more natural to you how to chip away at a problem. Confidence you can find a solution. Strong JavaScript foundation. Probably a reason a lot of you guys sign up for the course. Learning some fundamentals about JavaScript and being very strong on them. So as you move forward into more elaborate JavaScript and frameworks, you know what's going on under the hood and can understand kind of the why behind what's happening in code that you see or code that you read. Part of that foundation is being ready for an interview, a technical interview at a HackReact or immersive school. This may or may not be a goal for everybody in this class, but the Dan and I's goal is to get you to that point or close to it. Definitely we want to be somewhere where we're able to get you ready for the next step. If it's whether it's an interview or if it's more study on your own, like we want to be there to help you to make that plan and be ready to tackle the next thing. We're definitely going to cover material that will get you to that point, the point of knowing what you need to know for an interview. This part is kind of not obvious, collaboration and communication. We're going to do a lot of pair programming, which may or may not be something that you're excited about at this point. Pair programming can be super awkward at first. It's one thing to kind of think through code on your own and like let your mind just dive deep into the problem. It's another thing to have to be like speaking out loud and explaining your thought process to someone else. But this is really important. It's important, one, for an interview. That's something that they're going to check is how well you're able to communicate about your thought process and communicate about your code. But more than that, it's really important in the future as you're working with a team and building a project. Your teammates want to be abreast of, where the project is going, and they to you as well. So this is something we're going to harp on a lot and want you to practice a lot in your pair programming. Even when pair programming gets really tricky, just remember this is one of the goals of the course, is for you guys to get used to collaborating in this way. Communication, interaction, group dynamics, and building community. So something that's really tough when you're learning program is just not having people around you that are kind of in the same spot and struggling with the same problems. Definitely utilize the Slack channel to its fullest extent. If you're stuck, even if you're working outside class time, we really encourage you guys to self-form into study groups and spend time together outside class, like pairing or just talking about problems that you've struggled with. That'll really create some allies that you'll have with you as you continue to program. We'll start an email chain kind of at the end of class today. It'll go through. We're just asking you to respond with kind of a quick intro and a photo. And part of the fun part of that is just honestly looking back on it later. It's pretty surprising how you can stay connected to people that you meet at this stage, even as you go so far into working as developers and having careers that span multiple companies. It's fun it's pretty fun to look back on the email chain and see who you met here, and also just start building that network. A lot of us have come into software engineering from really different fields without a lot of kind of allies in the field, and this is where it can start. It can start networking here and start kind of like having people that you can call up when you're stuck. And that includes Dan and I. We want to we have our LinkedIn profiles on the class list. We'd love to connect with all of you guys on LinkedIn. And also just in general, just keeping in touch and kind of putting some of your energy towards the community and towards getting to know each other, so that inevitably when you're frustrated or stuck, you'll have each other to reach out to. Let's skip to another slide deck here. Okay, how to succeed. This is probably the most important topic that we can cover here, is a fixed versus growth mindset. To be an effective learner, you need to have this growth mindset. The mindset that says, I don't know right now, but I will know. Like I can learn this. It can be really hard, but I'm not just where I am right now. Like I see the future and I see the steps it'll take to get there. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but I can do it. And I will learn. It's the opposite of saying, this is hard, like I'm out of it. I'm not going to get it. I'm too far behind. I'm not there. Keep this in mind, because learning is hard. Coding also isn't fast. Okay, that kind of speaks for itself. And I haven't been in this position where I've coded on something for a year and thrown it away, but I have, and I'm sure Dan has been in the same spot where you have coded on something for a couple days and realized you took it in the wrong direction, that it's not going to fit with the rest of the project and it's going to get tossed. You just have to have the most positive mindset and think that the lessons you learned from having that experience, and you're going to take it with you into your next iteration of the project. How can I tell how I'm doing? Gauge yourself with respect to the curriculum, not others. So people come into this class and with the varying levels of experience. And our goal, Dan and I's goal, is kind of twofold. We want to provide a challenge for everybody in the class. So the first few days, we're going to kind of warm up slowly. But if you feel like you're just wanting more of a challenge, set up office hours or ping us on Slack and let us find some things that'll challenge you. On the other end, if you feel like, wow, I'm feeling lost and left behind, also come talk to us. We have some strategies for helping you keep moving forward, even if you're feeling overwhelmed. Being able to finish the remote prep, the prompts on your own. So we said we're going to do a lot of pairing, which is super important. But if there's a prompt that you personally don't understand, make sure you stop your partner and ask them if they get it, to explain it to you more clearly. If there's something a prompt that you don't think you would be able to solve or explain on your own, and your partner hasn't explained it very well, jot it down on a piece of paper and come and ask Dan and I about it in office hours, or do some Googling and some Stack Overflowing until you feel like you understand what's going on in each of these prompts. Solo and pairing are equally important. How does HackRafter keep track of me? Mostly it's in red flags that you raise. So if you're feeling really overwhelmed or left behind, or just not getting a certain concept, let us know. We're going to try to check in on you guys in your Hangouts, but there can be something that we missed. We only have a certain amount of time to be in each group, so seek us out. DM us on Slack might be the best way, or office hours. Let us know if you feel like you're really struggling. Okay, I'm going to skip the rest of these slides and pause here for questions. So let me see in the chat if there's no one unmuting with a question of how you guys are feeling with what we've covered so far. B's, you guys are with it? P's, questions? No questions. B. Okay, cool. So the last talk I'm going to talk about before we get into JavaScript is two things. One is going to be pair programming. The other is, if you guys do have questions more about Hack Reactor Remote Beta or the Hack Reactor Immersive in general, if it's pressing, definitely come ask us or seek us out for an answer. Otherwise, if it's just kind of a info question, if you can table it for now, and the third week, we're going to have a representative from Remote Beta come and visit our class, which will be a really good kind of intimate chance to ask any question. Kind of no holds barred. He'll be here. You can shoot out any question about Remote Beta you have. He'll be able to answer them. So if you start accumulating those kind of questions, just hold on to them until probably be Josh Shaman who will come and give us like a very thorough Q&A sometime during the third week. Okay, the last thing before we jump into JavaScript is just a little more about pair programming. So pair programming is kind of like it's like rally car driving. It's like people who drive through like Africa or Mexico in long multi-day, multi-mile races. One guy is driving. He's got his hands on the wheel. He's looking at the road ahead. He's the one who's actually going to turn the car left or right. But there's another guy who's sitting beside him, or gal, and she's navigating. She's got the map. She's got the big picture. She's trying to make the best decisions for the whole trip. So the driver, despite the fact that he has the hands on the wheel, he's depending on the navigator to tell him, to give him direction and decide what to do, where to go next. And the key to this being a good relationship is that they're speaking the same language and using very specific language. So you'll quickly realize if you're talking about code like move that up a line and put a semicolon there, because your pair will say where, what. You'll have the students be very specific and use very common language to say, declare a variable on line 4. Okay, and then put a function below it on line 7. And using very technical language as much as you can so that your pair will know exactly what you are looking for. The other part about pair programming is it's just important to kind of keep good attitude. It can be a lot slower, especially when you're starting out, than just programming solo. It can feel like you're spending all this time trying to explain to someone else when you could just type it out in like 2 seconds. Sometimes taxi drivers acceptable, exactly. But hang with it. It's hugely important. And if you feel like your pair is much junior to you and you have a solid grasp of the concept, being able to explain it to a junior pair is an amazing skill and will really solidify your understanding of a concept. The opposite being true, if you're the junior pair and you have a more senior pair, make sure you're asking them to explain things, that you're not just typing out what they tell you without understanding it. Make sure that what goes onto the page, both members of the pair understand. The final thing would just be try to switch every maybe 10 to 15 lines of code. So a lot of back and forth. You don't want to just be driving for the entire time that you guys are paired up for the day or navigating. Switch every 10 to 15 lines of code, or when you get to a point that it feels like a good time for a swap, or if somebody just has an idea that they want to be the driver for or be the navigator for, just keep it flexible. Keep good communication, keep good attitude, and enjoy it. Like, enjoy the parts that are difficult. They'll get easier, and just enjoy the opportunity to be like live coding with someone else. The environment we're going to start with today is going to be Cloud9, which is an internet IDE development environment. If you guys haven't had a chance to sign up for an account, it just literally takes like 5 seconds. So that will be where we start today when we break off in pair. But eventually we're going to try to move into using actual text editor, either like Sublime Text or Atom, and Fluebit, which is a collaborative environment. If you aren't familiar with those two things right now, no worries. We're definitely going to thoroughly cover setup and how to get that kind of thing set up, probably either tomorrow or the next day, sometime before the end of this week. But otherwise, Cloud9 is a great environment. One question real quick, is anyone, or who here is on Windows? If you're on Windows, will you just type your name into the chat as opposed to Mac? Niall, Nick, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so if you're on Windows, it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of you guys on Windows. You guys should look out for each other, because I have not owned a Windows PC. Zan hopefully is like a Windows Pro, right, Zan?
I'm also on Mac. I have a little bit of experience with the Windows terminal.
So some things that we cover are going to be different on Windows, but not obscenely so. Like, you'll be able to figure it out. It just might take some more Googling. So if the 7 of you find some solution that we haven't found or we haven't presented for a specific Pascal is Linux for Windows, then share with your fellow Windows users, because some things are quirky on there, and you can definitely be an asset to each other. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to close the chat. Okay, so we can see the coursework for today is going to cover the command line and a little bit of JavaScript and the DOM. So before we jump into this, let's just take 5 quick seconds here, 5 minutes, to just talk about the history of JavaScript. What is JavaScript? Who can unmute and tell us what JavaScript is?
It's a programming language, is it?
Right, programming language. Who else has something to add? What else is JavaScript?
It's not Java.
It's not Java. True, not Java. A programming language. Anyone else? What have you heard? What do you think of when you hear JavaScript?
Has dynamic typing.
Dynamic typing. Awesome. Anybody else have
interactivity with websites?
Has interactivity to websites. Totally. These are awesome.
Started as a browser language, but now it has other things like Node.js.
Awesome. You guys are all over this. Okay. Those are all totally great explanations of JavaScript. JavaScript started, like Nick said, sort of with the intent of adding interactivity to websites. It was started in 1995 by this guy, Brendan Eich, who was working at Netscape. Remember, if you guys were using the internet in 1995, but probably remember how websites looked then. Kind of not quite even as exciting as this page that we're looking at right now. More like this, almost. Very basic, very text-like. And what they wanted to do was add interactivity to websites. Because Netscape was kind of in a race with Internet Explorer, JavaScript ended up being written in 10 days by Brendan Eich. So knowing this, knowing that the language was put together fairly quickly, it helps us give it a little bit of perspective on some people's complaints about JavaScript. Some of the things they say, this is awkward, this shouldn't be in here, this shouldn't behave that way. Maybe some of that is true. Some of it maybe has a usefulness that is not obvious at first pass, but he did write it in 10 days. What happened after 1995 is that Netscape dominated for a while. There was kind of a major browser war between them and Internet Explorer. Netscape obviously ended up losing. So in 2003, Netscape was dissolved, but before they went under, they open sourced all of their stuff. So they opened up the ability for other people to start building browsers and improving JavaScript implementation. So JavaScript is a programming language, but it's implemented independently by each browser, by Chrome, by Firefox, by Safari. So it has like a slightly different flavor in each browser. Let's see what else to say about that. Because it was open source and everybody can kind of have a hand in how it's developed, it's attracted a lot of engineering talent because there's a lot of possibility to finesse it and tweak it and do very new specific things with it. See, the other point that we touched on, I can't remember who brought this up, but originally JavaScript was used just to like manipulate web pages. It was just kind of run in the browser. But in 2009, this guy, Ryan Dahl, saw a lot of things about JavaScript that would make it really useful to run on the server. And he created Node.js. So Node.js is just JavaScript. He uses the same kind of JavaScript engine that Chrome uses, but he uses it to run on the server. Node has become humongous and super popular. We'll be using it here in this course. In fact, in the chat, does everybody have Node installed? If you do not have Node installed, can you tell me in the chat here? Let's find the chat. I gotta stop sharing. Who doesn't have Node installed? So those three, Ben, Vagalis, and Raymond, right? Those Bs mean that you do not have it installed. Pascal does have it. Haven't yet. I do have it. Okay. So for some of you who don't have Node installed, you can kind of stay after this lecture. Maybe we can help you get started with it, but it won't be necessary actually for today. Maybe we'll actually put that off until tomorrow morning. But we'll address that in the Q&A here after class. But okay, so let's get into some JavaScript here. Okay. I say JavaScript, but the first thing we're actually going to talk about is the terminal. Who has used their terminal before? Awesome. That is a lot of Bs. Does PowerShell count? Right, Raymond, PowerShell. That is the name of the terminal in Windows. So Gabriel's a P. If you are brand new to the terminal, if there's P's out there that we didn't see, access it just by Command Tab in Mac. I'm sure there's a shortcut as well. Actually, this Command Spacebar opens up Spotlight. Type in terminal, and it brings you to this window. So you might be more familiar with is this interface. Which is your Finder window. It's kind of the graphical version of your terminal in a lot of ways. Basically, your terminal is a really powerful, really fast way to navigate your computer, to navigate your file system. So we can see here, first thing I can type is ls, which stands for list directory. So you can see the similarities here in my terminal versus in my Finder. The next thing I can do in my terminal is specifically navigate around by using this command, change directory, cd. If I type desktop, it'll bring me to my desktop. In fact, all I have to type is desk. I can hit tab. Bash is going to auto-complete for me and bring me to my desktop. The same thing, I can hit ls. So I don't have anything on my desktop, so it doesn't show me anything there. What if I want to go back to the folder I was just in? Who can unmute? Actually, can't see my chat. Who can unmute and tell me how to go back to the folder I was just in?
I'll volunteer. CD and then dot.
CD dot. And when I say print working directory, PWD, it shows me that I'm back where I started. Users Nisawalem, which you can also see just by what before the prompt shows. So what did that do? Well, ls isn't actually showing us everything that's in that directory. ls is just showing us the visible files. If I want to see everything that's in there, I can add the flag LA, which stands for list all. Now all of a sudden I see a lot more files that begin with a dot. Dot files are hidden files. They're hidden because the average user of a computer, they contain a lot of information about how your computer is set up, and the average user getting in there, you can manipulate some things that maybe you shouldn't be manipulating. But we will be those users now who will start poking around a little bit into our dot files. So you can see some profiles, some other kind of config files. But take note of this right here. I have a dot file and a dot. Dot stands for your current directory. Dot stands, just like Raymond said, it's kind of your parent directory. So when you want to navigate up, typing dot brings you up to the directory that you have just left. Okay, so here we are. Let's see, where are we now? Let's go to the desktop. Now that we're on a desktop, we also have an ability to make folders. So let me open this desktop here. See, there's nothing there. I can type in makedir, which stands for make directory. I'll type in week 1, day 1. We can see it made folder Finder, and also you can see it behind the video screen, but there's now a folder on my desktop. called week 1, day 1. I can CD into it. And there's nothing yet in it. One quick thing, actually, so if I want to make a file in here, what command do I use? Can someone unmute and tell me what I would type here if I wanted to make a file, not a directory, but a file?
Touch.
Touch, awesome. So I'm gonna make a file here. I'm just gonna call it script.js. Now, if I look inside week 1, day 1, I can see I have script.js. If there's ever a command that you're in here that you're curious, wondering what it does, you can type man, which is short for manual. If I type man ls, it's going to tell me what it does, list directory contents. It's also going to give me any flags that I can attach to it. Here, I had used the flag LA, include directory entries whose names begin with dot. L is actually forcing 1 entry per line. To get out of this, as in many things, I can just hit Q for quit. Okay, so now I'm going to navigate into this touch folder. Okay, so I have this script file. Let's start writing some JavaScript. It is possible to set this up so I can say Sublime index script, and it will open it for me in Sublime. But that setup is something we'll go into at a later time. So I'm actually just going to open up Sublime, hit Command O, navigate here. I'm at week 1, day 1, desktop, week 1, day 1, script.js, and I'm going to open it. Okay, any questions right now? I'm going to wait for at least one question before I keep going. Somebody's got to unmute and find a question to ask.
Are we supposed to follow you now and create that folder? Or?
No, you won't need to. You'll follow kind of the prompts that are in the curriculum that you guys will work through today. And when I wrap up. Okay, awesome. So I'm inside this script.js. Just going to start by creating some simple variables. String, I'll call it Nissa. My number. 7. Ooh. So JavaScript has these 3 basic primitive data types: strings, numbers, and Booleans. Close this chat window so I can see better. And I can create them. Yeah.
Can you enlarge that at all?
Yes, I can. Thank you. How's that, guys? Can you guys see that all right?
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. So first, you can see I've used good, clean syntax as I've done this, good, clean style. I have spaced everything appropriately. I've used semicolons at the end of my lines. But more importantly, I've used descriptive variable names. My string is a string, my number is a 7, bool is true. There'll definitely be an opportunity to use much shorter variable names, and it'll be appropriate sometimes to just say something like var x equals 4. But as much as you can, think about how using a good variable name can say a lot about what you're assigning it to, and make your code just a lot clearer to read. Clarity of code is super important. It's one of the first things anyone's going to notice when you write your code, and it also helps when you are the one coming back to read your code later to help you understand what your intention was when you wrote it. Okay, that said, let's look at this, var my number equals 7. So there are 2 expressions that are happening here. This looks like one simple thing, but what's really happening on the left-hand side, I'm declaring a variable, my number. I'm doing that by using this keyword var, and I'm using an identifier, my number, which is this unique name that I have come up with. So var is a reserved keyword. I can't say var equals 9. If I tried to run this, the computer would yell at me and say, you can't do that. Var is a reserved word. So let me see here. Participants. Julmar, what is the var? What is var?
VAR is a keyword.
Var is a keyword. Lakita, what is my number?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
My number is the string that you assign bar to.
Right, it's what we're going to call an identifier.
Oh, identifier.
My number is a unique identifier. So that's kind of like thank you. So that's kind of the left-hand side of this statement. That's one expression. I'm declaring a variable called my number. The right-hand side of this is an assignment expression. I'm assigning this variable that I just declared to a value. In this case, I'm assigning it to a value of the type number that happens to be a 7. If I had done this, it looks clear now that this is actually an expression on the other side of it, on the other side of this assignment operator. An expression is going to get evaluated into a result before this assignment happens. So if I said var my number equals 7 plus 8, if I ask the computer what my number is down here, what is it going to print out? You can just throw it in the chat. 15, right. It's not going to preserve, oh man, let's chat out of the way. I've managed to get the bar across the top of this, and I can't move it. There we go. Zoom has a lot of quirks. You realize like a lot of tools that are made for developers sometimes are a huge pain in the butt. But console is not going to remember. It's not going to remember that my number was assigned to a 7 plus an 8. It's going to do that work and immediately assign it to the result. It's going to evaluate this, get a result from that expression, and then assign it to this side of the expression. So altogether, these two expressions make a statement. A statement is kind of like a sentence in the English language. It ends with a semicolon. A semicolon tells the compiler, like, I'm done. I don't need you to do any more computing. I'm not going to ask you to add anything else. I'm not going to ask you to add any more numbers here. I just want you to finish that computation, assign it to this variable, and move on, kind of almost with a clean slate to the next line of code. So console log. This isn't something that you've seen before. Console log is a built-in function in JavaScript. Actually, I guess it's a method, but methods and functions are the same. We know it's a function because it has these parentheses, these kind of invocation parentheses that follow it. And in between those parentheses, I can put an argument. Like I had just put my number. Argument is going to tell the function what we want it to operate on. So in this case, we're telling this function, console log, to operate on my number. I can also put an expression in between these parentheses. Just the same, it will be evaluated before the function is run. So if I said console log 7 plus 8, again, it's going to tell me 15. It's not going to console log 7 plus, it's not going to console log the actual string 7 plus 8. Cool. So let's console log the rest of these. Let's see, my string. Okay, so I have this JavaScript file now. I have script.js. I have declared 3 variables, 3 different types: string type, number type, and a Boolean. And now I've told the computer also that I want to console.log them. But I don't see anything happening. So how do I run this JavaScript file? How do I see what's happening? Can anyone tell me?
CodePen?
CodePen, okay, that's like an online editor, right?
Or Control-Shift-M.
You have to build it in your Sublime editor.
That's George, right? So George is saying that there's this thing we could do. We could build this build system where all I have to hit is Control B, and he's right. Here I go. I have Nissa, I have 7, and I have true, which is exactly what I expected this to console log. However, maybe we don't have a build system set up. That's something we'll talk about tomorrow. But if you didn't have a build system set up, how else could I run a JavaScript file just out of the box? Just like first JavaScript file I've ever written. I don't have a build system. Any other ideas?
Yeah, you can use it in the browser. Just open the JavaScript console in the browser, or you use Node on the terminal. So actually, these are the 2 options.
Cool. They gave us 2 options, Node and in the Chrome console. So let's look at doing it with Node. Let's go back to our terminal. If you've installed Node, you can type Node into your terminal, and you can see by this kind of caret icon that you're now inside a JavaScript engine. Like I said, Rindall built this based on the same Chrome runtime, the same JavaScript runtime that Chrome uses. So this is just like being inside the Chrome console, which we're gonna go into shortly. And I can do any basic JavaScript in here. I can ask it to say 7 + 8. It'll tell me it's 15. I can console log, hey. It prints out, hey. I can do any kind of evaluating I want inside Node. So this is a really great, quick go-to. The problem is that it is just kind of one line at a time. So it can be tricky as you start typing longer and longer things to keep typing in here. You can hit Shift Enter to get yourself to another line without it evaluating it, but that gets kind of awkward. Something else I can do with Node. So to exit it, you have to hit Control C twice. And it'll exit it for you. I could hit Node and then type in the file that I want it to run, which is script.js. You can see it evaluates and gives us the same results that we got when we did it in our build system in Sublime. Okay, the final thing that we could do is opening it in the browser. So in the browser, you have in Chrome this opportunity to go under View, Developer, Developer Tools, JavaScript Console. There's a shortcut for this, Command-Option-I, which you'll want to get used to because you'll be using this a whole bunch. But when I'm in the console, I can, let's see, cut and paste. Hit Enter, same thing. I'm going to get exactly what I need to get. What about one more way I could set up and run this without using the browser but not using the console? Anybody know? So the other thing I could do is run it from create an index.html file and run it that way through some HTML. So the way I would do that, let's see, let's go back to the terminal. Let's create index.js, or sorry, index.html in the same place. Shortcut here. So I have my script.js, and I have this index.html. Sublime has some nice features here, whereas if I start typing HTML, H and tab, it'll give me this kind of basic structure of HTML document. If this is something you have never seen before, no worries, you won't need to use this today. And as we kind of haven't had a chance to go through the pre-course work and kind of get familiar with some of the HTML stuff, there'll be an opportunity to dive more in depth with it. But once you create this basic structure of an HTML document, I'm going to give it a title. Welcome. Prep rp18. I'm going to give it a really quick h1 tag. Oops, h1. So I can see now if I go back to Chrome, I hit Command-O to open. Oops, not on the console. close this. Navigate to that folder, index.html, and I open it. I get my little h1 tag here, but I don't yet see any JavaScript. So what I can do inside an HTML is use a script tag. Copy this over. Inside a script tag, this is just like being inside any JavaScript environment. I can type anything I want to type, any JavaScript I want to type in here. I save it, go back to my Chrome page, I refresh it. I'm not going to see it appear on this page, right? I need to still go back into my console. And there I see my JavaScript logged out. Okay, I'm going to stop for questions. How is it going right now?
A little confusing.
It is.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay. I see you type in the terminal a lot. Do we need to get in the habit of doing that? Because I've never done that before.
That is totally fine. The lesson today is going to walk through a lot of like basics of the terminal, and getting familiar with it is going to be kind of like an ongoing skill. It is super important to start getting familiar with it, but don't be scared. You'll quickly realize that it's just a lot faster to be in the terminal and using the command line as opposed to always jumping back to the graphical finder.
So with the terminal, I guess they have different syntax that you have to learn. Is that like a whole nother like sort of language that you have to learn or something just to get familiar with it?
So the terminal has like a lot of advanced capabilities, but we're going to start with some really small chunks. Pretty much just what I talked about: ls, print working directory, pwd, cd, and those commands are part of the worksheet for today. So start small. I really would say just make yourself like some flashcards or on a piece of paper, some really basic command line commands. You kind of force yourself to start using it, even maybe when you're not coding, when you need to make a new file, like even a new Word doc. Try to jump into your terminal, really practice navigating around with that CD and just CD and touch and make directory.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry. One more question. When you use the, I suppose, script in Sublime.
Yes.
I don't know. Like I looked at other like other files that coders would make, and they have like different files, like for CSS, a file for HTML, and a file for like JavaScript. Like, is that the best method to go about doing that? Is that the proper way to have JS and HTML like that?
Yes. So great point. Kia's saying there's another way to get to this JavaScript without writing it inline. Maybe if you've done some coding before, you would see people, sometimes you do inline CSS with a style tag up here in the head. This gets a little unwieldy in itself. If you have a lot of various CSS styles, pretty soon this gets to be a huge block of code that kind of interferes with reading what your HTML document is really about, which is about the HTML structure of your page. The same is true with JavaScript. It can get pretty unwieldy when you start having a lot of function calls. You don't all want it in one place. The best idea is kind of a separation of concerns and writing your JavaScript in separate files and linking it to your HTML. But I'm going to table that for now. We're going to talk about linking it to another document, which is the best practice. It's really the best thing to put a link here to another file so that when you run your HTML, it will evaluate that file, but your JavaScript is not written in line. That's where we're going to get to. But for now, we're just going to stick with this inline method.
Okay, thank you.
So what we're going to do now, okay, we're hour, 15 minutes in. Perfect. under my hour and a half limit for myself. We're gonna split. If you have no kind of gating development issues, like if you right now are ready to either start on Cloud9 or on Sublime, set up a hangout with a pair and start working through today's prompts, which are under this JavaScript in the DOM, then let me see. Let me put this in the chat here. Then put a B in the chat if right now you are ready to pair up and start working on prompts with a partner. Okay, so nobody type in the chat here for a second while we get these names on Windows. Sounds like the disclaimer. I'm ready, but I'm on Windows. Raymond, okay. Let me put another one in here, and let me say, type your name in if you have some kind of like a gating issue which you're not ready to prompt. You have some other question that you need answered before you break off here. Jake, was that a B for needing additional help, or did I just accidentally cut you off too fast?
No, I'm good. Mm-hmm.
You're good to go. Okay, Elizabeth, you have a question for us though?
Yeah, I just think I think it just, I'm a little bit worried about how quickly I can do it, so I don't know how quickly I have to go through these prompts.
Cool. So Elizabeth, you can hang on and we'll chat with you here after a second. Everyone else, you can go ahead and we'll drop off the Zoom, but not quite yet. What you're gonna do is go find the whiteboard. So it's on the top of the Slack channel. Go to the current pairs. I think your current pairs should be posted now. Or Zan, are they up or not quite yet?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Zan is a pro. So you're gonna go to the whiteboard. You're gonna find your partner. One of you is gonna create a Hangout link. The shortcut to do that is just typing in, Hangouts? Let me see what the shortcut is here. Hangouts.google.com/start. I'll put it in here. So one of you guys is gonna create a Hangout. You're gonna paste it onto the whiteboard. You guys are gonna meet out on the Hangout. Then you're gonna decide you're gonna go to Cloud9, set up your development environment, and just start working through the prompts. Paste everything in the whiteboard so that we can drop in and check on you guys. But that's it. We'll ping you again at probably like 11:45, maybe a little bit before or a little after, depending on how things are going, to take some Q&As at the very end.
Also, one other thing about breaking into pairs, in Slack on the left-hand side, there is a subheader called direct messages. And if you hit the little plus sign next to that, you can start a direct message with whoever you're pairing with. And that'll make it's a little bit easier to communicate if everybody is like typing in the general, then it'll be hard to see your partner's message. You might miss it.
Yeah, hey, I see there's a problem with accessing the whiteboard. So let me just refresh the permissions before we jump off this Zoom and make sure that I can create it. Thanks. Good point, Dan. Hold on here. I get some confirmation that everybody can get in here before I lose you guys on. Okay, can someone try now and see if you're able to access it? Any thumbs? Any yes?
Yeah, it's working out.
Yeah, I can get in.
Cool. So anybody who doesn't have like a gating development issue, who is ready to have everything set up and start working, go ahead, drop off the Zoom, find your pairs, and start going through the prompt. Dan and I will drop by to see you in your meeting.